Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer, and today I'm going to be talking about the interview Christopher Priest had recently. If you don't know who he is the new writer of Deathstroke. That series starts on August 10th, and what I'm going to be doing is taking some of the quotes that interested me most and reading them to you guys, and then giving you guys my thoughts on what he said, because, as you guys know, I'm a huge Deathstroke fan. I haven't talked about him much lately because there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. His series has been garbage, but now that it's getting rebooted, we're getting a new writer, I'm hoping it's going to be good. But yeah, most of the stuff he says in this interview I like. There is one thing that's got me a little worried, but for the most part, it's pretty solid what he says. Let's start out with the first thing he said that worries me a bit, which is he is a bad guy and an unapologetic bad guy who runs around and kills people. I don't really like that as a definition of Deathstroke. He's not a bad guy. If you read the old Teen Titans stories, and maybe you could see that, okay, he's a bad guy. Because Martin Wolfman pulled this. He did something that was really cool, which was, if you read it from the Teen Titans perspective, so you read New Teen Titans, you could see, okay, Deathstroke looks like he's a bad guy. There's some hints here that he might not be so bad, but he looks pretty much like a cut and dry bad guy for the most part. Then you read Deathstroke's series, and you see why he does things. You see the fact that he's not actually a bad guy. He's an anti-hero, and you see that he's got morals, and he's not a just straight up, aha, I'm an evil villain. Deathstroke is not evil at all. He's not a bad guy. He is an anti-hero. That's not to say he's like Superman or anything. No, he's not like that. He's not like some constantly morally right guy, but he is not a villain. And I think a lot of people mistake him for that, and so I really hope that Christopher Priest realizes that Deathstroke is not an actual villain, but an anti-hero who does questionable things. He is an anti-hero at the end of the day. If you read Deathstroke's main series, you can see that Marv Wolfman's Deathstroke series from back in the 90s, you see that Deathstroke is not a villain. He's not evil in any way. But anyways, yeah, on to the next quote. What Christopher Priest said next is, hopefully we'll kind of reset him back to being a top tier character in his own right. I'm excited about this because he's talking about, in the context, he's talking about how Deadpool has become more than popular. Deadpool is insanely popular right now. Like, everyone knows who Deadpool is. Even before his movie came out, he was huge, but now his movie's made him even more popular, and how Deathstroke is, the father of Deadpool, basically, because Deadpool is just a ripoff of Deathstroke. Not saying they're the same character or anything, but without Deathstroke, Deadpool never would have happened, and that's a fact. There's nothing, I'm trying to be malicious or anything. I love Deadpool, but I'm just saying, without Deathstroke, Deadpool would not have happened. So that's what he's bringing up there, and he's like, it's kind of sad that the fact that Deadpool's way more popular than him, and the fact that now Deathstroke could be considered a copy of Deadpool because way more people know who Deadpool is than Deathstroke. So we're trying to just assert Deathstroke as his own character and make him a top tier character. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Next thing he said was, well, this is sort of summarizing what he said, not reading a direct quote, but he says basically that he wants to make the series more of a character-driven series, like Marv Wolfman's 90 series, and less of a look who Deathstroke is fighting this week, look who the villain of the week is, because that's what the New 52 series has been. It's just like, oh, he's fighting Red Hood, oh, he's fighting Superman, Wonder Woman, oh, he's fighting Batman. It's just every week. Now, I'm happy that he said this, but at the same time, he sort of contradicts himself, because later on he says he clashes with Batman in issue 5, and he has a knockdown drag out with Superman in issue 8. So in the first 8 issue, he's going to be going against Batman, Damian as well, because we already saw that in synopsis. So he's going to run into Damian and Superman. That's 3 big heroes that he's going against. That's Batman, Robin, and Superman in the first 8 issues. Yet he's talking about how it's going to be a character-driven series and not villain of the week. That contradicts you a little bit. I'm interested to see how it goes. That being said, I'm always up for a Batman Deathstroke fight. Could be pretty cool, but at the same time, like, that's pretty stupid to be, just contradict yourself like that in the same interview. Anyways, Priest also said that he's getting emails from DC telling him to tone down the violence just a bit. Like, they're telling him, like, oh, we can't have him do this. Could you have him, like, kill that guy in a shadow so that way, it's not as bad, just a silhouette, and he's just trying to, and the Priest just keeps telling him that he wants, like, his own title, like, label for it or something. Sort of like when you had Punisher Max, to where it was separate from the normal Marvel books, that way it was more violent. I would be down for that if we got a separate sort of Deathstroke title to where it was under its like sort of own thing, like the Max series was for certain heroes. If they did something like that for DC, so Deathstroke could be more violent, I'm down for that. But yeah, either way, comics can still get pretty violent without having to have something like that. Like, Deathstroke comics can still be plenty violent enough. But if he wants to do more, I'm down for that. But DC won't won't let him do that. Either way, though, that is pretty cool that he's getting emails from DC telling him to turn down the violence. So yeah, I like that. Next thing he says is, I think the main concern I have is that I don't want Deathstroke to be the go-to guy when you need a villain. So it becomes Deathstroke versus Mighty Mouse, and Mighty Mouse kicks his ass. No, he's Deathstroke. 100% agree there. That's what he's been in the New 52. I said this before. He is the Boba Fett of DC. He's the, oh my gosh, that guy looks so cool. And then he ends up doing nothing but getting his butt kicked. He is the Boba Fett of DC. That's what he is. You put him on the cover of something because he looks so cool. But then when you open the issue, he ends up doing nothing but getting his butt kicked. And so it's like, well, yeah, it's a good thing they put Deathstroke in that issue. So I'm happy he said that, but we'll see. About how all that goes. Next thing he says, I told my editors about it, and I said, look, you've got to be careful. You've got to tell your editor pals that you've got to be careful who you put Deathstroke up against, because Deathstroke is a killer. He doesn't just knock you out and go, I won that fight. You have to be careful when you put him in front of him, who you put in front of him, because if Deathstroke doesn't kill them, we're violating the character. If Deathstroke is always getting his butt kicked, then we're violating the character. So you got to stop that. If you go in to fight Robin, that means you're tired of Robin, you want Robin to go away because he's Deathstroke. I really love that quote right there, where he's like, if you're going to have him fight Robin, that means you're tired of Robin, you want Robin to go away. So basically, you know, if you want Robin to die and you're done with his Robin, if people are getting annoyed with him, just have Deathstroke kill him. You know, that's basically the sign. Deathstroke is death incarnate. So if you see Deathstroke fighting your favorite hero, that hero's gonna die. I thought that was kind of cool. I like that, but at the same time, again, Deathstroke is an anti-hero. That's what explained why he never killed any heroes. Like when he beat the crap out of Batman in City of Assassins, he didn't kill him, and why he never killed him on the Teen Titans and everything, and he just delivered them to them alive. It makes sense because he's not an evil guy. He's not killing heroes. That's not his thing. That's not what he does. Later on, they tried to make him more villainous, but Marv Wolfman's original concept for Deathstroke, he was not a hero. So yeah, but I do agree, you can't have him just in every book fighting people. And if he does constantly fight people and not kill anyone, it does seem a little like, how's this guy the world's greatest assassin again? Like, it sort of gets to that territory. It's like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. World's greatest assassin, he's not killing anyone. But yeah, so I like what he said there, and I agree for the most part. The next quote I have from Christopher Priest is, part of our storyline for the first year or so of the series to explain why the superheroes allowed Deathstroke to walk around. Part of it is that he's very good at what he does in terms of not getting caught. Part of it is that first you have to prove in court that Deathstroke and Slade Wilson are one and the same, and that's really hard to do. Third, he has a cadre of lawyers that can get him out of anything. So that's interesting because, again, if you do have this guy that's going to be kicking as much butt as Christopher Priest claims in this series, it doesn't make sense that, you know, you'd have to explain why the superheroes aren't just taking this guy out immediately, why the Justice League aren't getting him. It's interesting that he said in court that you can't prove that Deathstroke and Slade Wilson are one and the same. It's hard to do that considering from, like, ever it's been wide knowledge of everyone that Slade Wilson and Deathstroke are the same. Only like when he first came out was it hidden. Now like in the New 52, I'm pretty sure everyone knows, and so it's just it's going to be interesting to see what they do there, but I'm excited. Also, something that Priest said that I'm not going to do a direct quote of, but he was talking about his new look, and he was talking about how he wanted to make things slimmer and make him not be wearing like giant machine guns with huge like ammo belts on him unless he's really using a machine gun or something, and he's not going to be having like a flaming sword. And I liked what he said there. But at the same time, because he's like, that's not how assassins look. Assassins are stealthy, you know, they're out in the dark and all this other stuff. And then I was like, but why give him the white arm? Like, that's what's so stupid about his new character design. Like, why that? If you're talking about how an assassin looks, if he's trying to hide in the shadows or something, he's got that white arm just sticking out. It looks stupid. But anyways, yeah, I overall liked what he said about the costume. He's like, it doesn't make sense for Deathstroke to be wearing these huge ammo belts when he's just using swords and doesn't even have like a giant machine gun or anything. It's kind of stupid. And he doesn't want to see Deathstroke using a giant machine gun either. So yeah. And a follow-up to the quote I read before, he says he's rich, he's got a bunch of lawyers, those kind of things all come in, as in coming into play to prevent the Justice League or anyone from taking him down. Anyways, continuing the quote, he says, so the heroes are faced with either kill him or you lock him up in a Guantanamo Bay kind of deal with no charge, and that's not justice. The theme we have is that in order to have justice, Deathstroke is kind of a consequence of the whole concept of doing justice versus being a vigilante. Almost screwed up reading there at the end, but yeah, so I like this concept. concept there. The fact that you can't get Deathstroke actually, like, through justice, so the heroes won't get him, because you can't just go and just get him because like, you have to have proof or something. You can't just be like, well, I know Slade Wilson is Deathstroke, I'm gonna go and just rip him out of his house and throw him in jail. It's like, well, no, you have to actually properly try him, because you could do that, but it's not justice and the heroes won't do that. So I thought that was an interesting concept there. And the last quote I have from Christopher Priest, this is what the quote he used to close out the interview is: right now, my main focus for the first year is reestablish his community. Over the years, they've whacked out every member of his family, sometimes twice, 3 times to really establish his core, his status quo, and then standing up to Batman, standing up to Superman, help define who Deathstroke is between those two extremes. By standing him up next to Batman, we'd find him this way. By standing him up next to Superman, we'd find him that way. We're really not that focused on guest star of the week or whatever. We're just trying to get his world together. Really, that was a great quote and a great way to end the interview, but at the same time, you're having Batman, Robin, and Superman show up in your first 8 issues, so you're not doing yourself a whole lot of favors by saying we're not focusing on guest star of the week, but don't miss out on Batman, Robin, and Superman showing up in the first 8 issues of Deathstroke. And then his family dying, yeah, they have killed members of his family, but they all come back either way, pretty much. And the New 52 showed his family so much. Like, every Deathstroke writer, this is what I complained about before, and talked about what I did not want in the Deathstroke series. I did not want a villain of the week thing. I did not want a guest star of the week, because it's stupid, and is what they use to continue to keep the Deathstroke book afloat. Be like, please buy it because Red Hood's on the cover. Please, you've always wanted to see Deathstroke or Red Hood fight. Please buy it. And so they do stupid crap like that, and the series would be just awful and just be guest star of the week. And at the same time, every story would be focused on his family, and I'm sick and tired of that, and I really don't want that. But that's exactly what Christopher Priest is going to do, except, I can't talk, exactly what he's going to be doing, except I'm hoping he does it a lot better, considering he's doing that stuff. I'm a little mad that he's doing that, because I wish he would do more of just, like, a Deathstroke story, sort of like the Deathstroke annual number 2 that we got. It was really good. It's, like, the best thing we've gotten in the New 52 for Deathstroke, like, ever. It's just a single issue. It was really good. I enjoyed it, and it was just a story focused around Deathstroke, not his family, nothing like that. It was just him doing his job, and it was really interesting, and it was a very good story. And but it proved that you don't need, like, some guest star of the week. You can just have it on Deathstroke, and you don't have to have his family either. It can be focused just on Deathstroke, Slade Wilson himself doing his job, because that's very interesting, right? The best assassin in the entire DC universe doing his job. At least to me, that sounds pretty cool, and I don't get why more writers don't be like, hey, let's just make a story about that, instead of, we gotta bring his family into it, we gotta have him fight Batman and Superman, and he could capture Robin. It's just, I don't know. Either way, though, Christopher Priest said a lot of good things. I'm excited. I think he's going to do a good job with the series. I really hope he does, but yeah, that's all I have to say about today. Yes, I know there was a Teen Titans Judas Contract movie that was announced. I might make a video separate on that, not going to give my opinions on that on this video, probably later on, but yeah, please let me know in the comments below what you think of what Christopher Priest said. Are you excited? Do you even care about Deathstroke at all? Please let me know, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.